You're listening to Community Radio, CKMS, Radio Waterloo, 102.7, 946 on the Rogers Digital Network. You can find us at
Happy Solstice, Waterloo Region. It's Monday, the 21st of December. This is CKMS Community Connections. My name is Bob Jonkman. Today we have Taylor Davison in the studio, who's going to be talking to us for the entire hour. We're listening to her now, singing Dark Cloud from a recently released EP, single, could be, Taylor Davison. Taylor Davison from Waterloo, Ontario, who happens to be in the studio with us today. Good morning, Taylor. Welcome to CKMS Community Connections.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
You're very welcome. You're in Waterloo. You're a hidden treasure in Waterloo.
Yeah, I guess so. Technically, we're out in New Hamburg, but still counts as Waterloo Region.
Okay. You've been here long?
We moved here about 2 years ago, actually. Before that, we were in Toronto. Before that, we were in London, and I grew up in the Niagara area.
Okay, so local to Ontario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now local to Waterloo, too. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
You've been performing a lot in the neighborhood?
Not too much around KW yet. As I said, we're pretty new, and COVID has taken a lot of those opportunities from us at the moment, unfortunately. But definitely have performed a lot over my lifetime, and excited to get back out there once we can.
Yeah. And you've been busy in the studio, what with the COVID stuff happening and all. Dark Cloud that we just heard came out, in September or so?
It actually was originally finished in January of 2020, so it's been out for about a year, and then we've been working really hard on other stuff for for the year. Like, as you said,
Yeah.
we're at home all the time.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot of opportunity to work on new material and start recording songs that we've kind of had on the backlog for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And you've got a home studio then where you can do all the recording and engineering and mastering and stuff?
We do, yeah. So my husband, Julian, who's here today.
Hi, Julian.
Hello.
He has a great setup in one of the rooms of our house. We have a lot of equipment that we've acquired over years and years of working on music. And we just work away in any of the time we have. We both have full-time jobs, so we get in there whenever we can.
So this is not the paying gig for you. This is the additional stuff you do when you have all that extra free time.
That's right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So much extra free time we have.
What it's worth, Julian's been doing a great job on production because your stuff sounds great.
Well, thank you, and thank you on behalf of him. He does an amazing job. He produces and writes his own orchestral music as well,
Oh,
which has been featured in a number of video games. He has a very popular YouTube channel.
well, I didn't know that. So now I'm going to have to go cruising the internet to get some Julian Shanahan music into our digital library as well.
Definitely, if you search on YouTube for Julian Shanahan music, you'll find all of his really great work.
I will work on that over the holidays.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And you've been working on new stuff. One of the things you've been working on is a new EP, is what I gather from the Twitters and the Instagrams and the Facebooks.
That's right. We are currently working on our first full-length album. We did release a very short EP a couple of years ago called Still, which you can find on my YouTube page.
Mhm.
But we're working on our first kind of official full-length album, which should be done in the summer. Again, it's a little bit slow going because we do have full-time jobs, but working hard on that, and we're really excited for everybody to hear it.
Good, good. Is there something in particular from there that you could showcase for us?
Yeah, so we actually just finished a new song a couple of days ago. It's called A Lazy Day in June, and we brought it today to debut, so we can definitely take a listen at that.
Okay, so how does that work? How do you get something from an idea onto what I received as an MP3 file? How does that work?
That's a great question. It's different every time, I have to say. For this new song in particular, for Lazy Day in June, it was one of those situations where I keep notebooks of all my ideas and all of my songs. And I had a bunch of pages of just little ideas, little bits and pieces, and I wanted to put them together into something. So I started working on kind of weaving them together into some kind of cohesive song or story. And then once I had the lyrics down, I started working on the music for it. That's usually how my process goes. I usually start with the lyrics and then add the music. Sometimes I start with the lyrics, add the music, realize I hate the lyrics, write new lyrics. So it definitely changes every time, but that was the process for this song.
So when that happens, when you redo the lyrics, do you have those lyrics sitting in the back just in case you want to use them again for something else?
Yeah, I mean, I keep everything kind of on record in my notebooks, so I can always go back. And sometimes I do go back and see what I'd been working on because maybe it wasn't what I wanted to do at that time, but then a few months later it seems like I have a place for those lyrics. Yeah, that's usually how that goes.
I'm imagining you with this stack of notebooks full of notes.
That is accurate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you ever go back down to the bottom of the stack to see what you might have missed 3, 4, 5 years ago?
I do actually, every once in a while. Not very often. It's usually all my things and I'm getting nostalgic going through my old stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I have notebooks from the time I was about 12 or 13 until now. Just
my goodness.
a huge stack of them just full of ideas and songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is the Taylor Davison from 12 or 13 different from Taylor Davison today?
Yes, luckily. Thankfully, I definitely have changed a lot. I think when I was early on writing, one of my goals was to write really quote-unquote unique music. And I learned very quickly that people want to listen to things that sound good.
Yeah. Well, unique doesn't necessarily mean bad.
No, that's true. And I think one thing that I've learned over the years, and maybe if I can say this about myself, gotten better at, is how to write a song that is unique, but still something that's really palatable and easy to listen to and catchy and engaging.
Okay.
And that's a hard thing to do. I really applaud people who can just write hits all the time.
Well, that's sort of how I imagine it goes, It's because I just receive the hits as people send them to me. So I figure, that's all that ever happens. People just, write hits off the top of their head. That's how it comes out.
Right. Definitely not. I heard one time that somebody told me that 1 in every 10 songs is probably a good one. And I think that that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's as you're writing, not just songs that get produced.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, wow. So, for every song that I've got in the library, there's another 9 out there that didn't make it that far.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
So this new song is called A Lazy Day in June.
That's right.
We are about as far from June in the middle of December as you can get. It's 6
Yes.
months ago, or it's 6 months coming. Is that how long it took to produce the song from the time you wrote it?
So I think I wrote this one actually last winter. So again, not June. You will learn when you listen to the song that it's not really a song about June, exactly. But it often does take a very long time. I think we had Dark Cloud for 2 years before we finally were able to release it. It takes a long time to produce, but it also takes a long time to kind of have a song in your life for long enough that you realize that it's one that's good enough. I would never start producing a song that I had finished last week. I want to sit on it for a few months and make sure.
Oh, really?
And make sure it's not just like the excitement of a new song, and that it's actually a quality song.
Okay, so by doing that, do you just ignore it for a few weeks, or do you constantly sit and twiddle it until you're happy with it?
More of the second one. I twiddle it for a long time, and then I'll spend a few months just like picking up my guitar and playing it casually throughout the day and seeing like how I feel about it.
And you compose on guitar?
I do, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, because I always thought people composed on piano.
Oh, yeah.
Your sheet in front of you, and you can make the notes as you're going.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a piano player. I can mess around a little bit, but I don't actually play piano. Guitar is my instrument, so that's how it works for me.
So on this song, are you playing guitar?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Julian does the rest of the instruments
all
and
the background
the
stuff
producing. And there's a live mandolin in this one, which is Julian's work.
So Julian is a multi-instrumentalist.
He is. He's a very talented man, I have to say.
This is not Julian's show, this is your show. We'll have
Oh,
Julian,
right. Sorry.
We'll have Julian on another day. So this is A Lazy Day in June from Taylor Davison. Brand new, never been aired. Just received it like half an hour ago. So a debut on CKMS FM Community Connections.
Picked up the paper to read the cartoons, watching last night's late night in the afternoon. Walk along the waterside, forgot my phone, but I don't mind.
Taylor Davison, brand new single called Lazy Day in June. Lovely.
Thank you.
It has mandolin. You said mandolin?
Yes.
Yeah. That's not something you commonly hear in a rock-ish tune. I guess this is alternate rock.
I guess so. I have a hard time deciding what genre our music is. I
Yeah.
feel like it changes a lot. This one, I think it's got some folky vibes, but I
Yeah,
think just
yeah.
naturally I end up writing more of rock or alternative rock kind of music.
In our library, I've tagged most of your music as folk.
Oh, interesting.
Just because it was there. So let's see what we've got here. We've got Let You Go is alternative rock CanCon, KWCon, which is our Kitchener-Waterloo local content, and
Right.
FemCon, music featuring female artists
Cool.
is specifically singled out here.
Nice.
Not so much singled out as tagged. We've got folk singer-songwriter. So most of the stuff is folk and folk singer-songwriter.
Right.
And then
Yeah,
one or
that's
two
interesting.
alternate rocks songs in there.
Right. I think the more we get better at producing the songs in the way that we really want to, I think the rock shows up
It
in
does.
that way. I think a lot of my older stuff, just because we didn't have a lot of the producing capabilities that we have now, sound a lot more folky because it's mostly just acoustic guitar and a little bit of
Right.
drum and a little bit of bass.
And so when you're performing, you have Julian on stage with you doing all the instruments at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It's amazing. You've got to see it.
So that's got to be a solo act, right? That's when you're performing, you're there on stage, acoustic guitar.
Yep, exactly. Julian has performed with me before,
Okay.
where he either also plays guitar or just plays guitar for me, and then we sing together or something like that. But for the most part, it's been a solo act. When I was in high school, I played at a bar in St. Catharines called the Mansion House, and I played with my friend Nathaniel Restenberg, who's an incredible drummer, and so we did kind of a duo situation.
Okay, guitar and drums.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we didn't have any other options, but it worked out okay.
But it means that the produced stuff, the stuff that you actually have available for mass consumption, is radically different from the Taylor Davison you go and see in bars, restaurants, other venues.
I think it would be pretty different. All of the songs have me playing guitar in them when we record them. That's how we start the recordings. I do a guitar track, I do a vocal track, and then we move it over to Julian's studio workspace and we build it up from there. So you would still recognize a lot of the production ideas in the performance that I give, but they definitely sound different live versus the recorded versions.
In the production stuff, I reprocess the tracks when I receive them to put them into our digital library, and notice that you have an incredible dynamic range. You know, the softs are soft and the louds are louds, and that doesn't work well on radio because FM just doesn't have that dynamic range.
Right.
So pretty incredible. It sounds nice. Sounds nicer when I'm listening to it with headphones than when I'm actually listening to it on the air.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, again, that's all Julian's work. I think that probably has a lot to do with the orchestral music that he writes, because that does have a lot of highs and lows and all of that. So if you
Orchestras
want to
have
speak to that,
incredible dynamic range.
he doesn't want to speak
Doesn't
to
want to
it.
speak to
I'm
it.
just going to speak for him today.
That's okay. We'll give him his own chance later on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
When you're producing stuff like that, how much input do you have in how things come out? The mix, the mandolin's too loud, the vocals are not loud enough. How much does Julian listen to?
Oh, I'm very bossy. So, no, I'm just kidding. But usually when we start producing a song, again, I've been sitting on the song for a few months at that point, and I have some ideas of how I want the song to go. They're usually a lot more general ideas, like I want it to really build here, I want it to be really quiet here, I'm thinking this instrument might be nice, I think, the drums should do this kind of thing, but I'm not a drummer, I'm also not a producer, I don't really know anything about this, so I kind of spew out those, crazy ideas, and Julian takes that, makes sense of it, and makes it into something really great. So he does really all of the kind of careful producing work of it.
Okay.
He definitely does the majority of the legwork. I just kind of sit there and say my input as we
Put in the
go.
broad strokes, and then Julian does the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Have you recorded in other studios other than your own? Gone out and no, not yet?
Yeah, no,
So,
just our place.
waiting to be picked up by a major label. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Call me.
Well, happy to give you what promotion you can here on the radio station, which actually goes for anybody who's out there producing their own music. Give us a call or send us an email, office@radiowaterloo.ca, and we'll put your stuff on the air because that's what community radio is for.
Exactly. And just to shout out the show a little bit, I just sent Bob an email one day with one of my tracks, and he responded almost immediately saying he downloaded the rest of my music and was putting it all in the catalog to play, and then invited us in for this interview. So it's been a really great experience.
Just to put people's expectations at the correct level, sometimes it takes me a year or more to respond to stuff.
I guess I got you had a good time.
You must have done. Yeah. When you're creating new music, and you've got your stack of notebooks sitting there, you said you do the lyrics first.
Almost always.
Almost always? So would you ever be a musician? Would you ever write instrumental music?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I could do it. I see Julian do it all the time, and I just, even though I am a songwriter myself, I can't quite comprehend how people write just instrumental music. For me, it's so much about the lyrics, and the lyrics drive the music. That's such a huge part of it for me.
Okay, so you need to pay attention to when you're performing and you're singing, because that's the important bit. The lyrics are the important bit.
Definitely, and I think that's something I struggled with a little bit for a long time, was I was so invested and focused on the lyrics that I didn't have as much of an appreciation for the musical side of things. And over the last few years, I've really focused on also creating interesting and catchy and engaging music as well. So hopefully that comes through.
It's absolutely catchy and engaging, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
And is it all the life of Taylor Davison?
Pretty much.
Yeah?
Pretty much. I write in a very, to borrow a phrase I heard recently, diaristic way.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, so it's the way that I've always processed things I'm thinking about, things I'm feeling, relationships I have, experiences I've gone through, all kinds of stuff. That's just, it's kind of like my journal.
Yeah, and put the music.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you're writing and doing that, are you writing for multi-instrumental songs? Because if you're writing with a guitar, are you writing for mandolins and pianos and other instruments as well?
I don't think I start thinking about it that way. I really focus on just how the guitar and vocal is going to sound, partially because that's kind of just what I have in front of me at that time. And then it's not until I've sat on the song for a little while and really thought about it that those other thoughts kind of come into my mind. And then, again, they're always just really vague. I might like to have a mandolin in this song. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for. And then Julian takes that really vague information and makes it really beautiful. He really brings the songs to life.
Yeah. You've been at this for a while, though, because I've got some early music here by you from 2014, I think.
Oh, boy.
That long ago. Let's see, it's a quick look at the list there. Yeah, it's stuff going back. I Run from 2014.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a throwback. I mean, I've been writing songs since I was about 13, even earlier, actually. I've just kind of always been drawn to songwriting. I don't exactly know why. I remember writing songs about Barbies with my sister when we were really little. It's just something we always did. I don't really know why.
And was that a hit?
It was a huge hit, yes. Yeah, raked in millions. But then it wasn't until I was 12 or 13, like I mentioned. I think that year my mom had bought me a journal for Christmas, and I found journaling very boring. So instead, I filled that book with songs, and I've kind of been doing that ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was getting the journals that turned you into a songwriter.
Yeah, I think so. I think just having kind of a formal space to write in the form of that journal helped me to kind of focus in on the desire I'd always had to write songs and make it a bit more formal and official.
Okay. But you're not a songwriter by training or education or...
No, I studied art history in school.
History.
Julian's an engineer. Neither of us really did music in school, but we've just always been so drawn to it.
That's amazing. That's it sounds so great. Like it's very polished.
Thank you.
I have to admit that. Yeah.
And again, it's really all it's all Julian.
Yeah. Got another song on cue here. You Put My Mind at Ease. What's the background on that?
Oh, I love this song. So this is basically a love song for Julian. If you hadn't gathered already, I'm a big fan. So I mean, like a lot of people, I am an anxious person.
Yeah.
I'm a worst case scenario person. I worry a lot. But I've been really lucky in that I found a partner who is the opposite. He doesn't stress, he keeps me calm, and I honestly remember the moment that the idea for this song came to me. We were in our apartment in Toronto. I think we were making the bed, and the phrase, "you put my mind at ease," came into my mind because that's just, that was my experience. And I thought, oh, that's a song title. And then I thought about it for a long time and eventually worked it out.
And so you immediately rush off to the journals to write that down?
In that case, no. Sometimes I do. I keep notes on my phone as well that I later transfer into the journal.
Okay.
But in that case, that was one that it had like a slow burn. I had this idea, and then a few days later, I had the idea to rhyme ease with guarantees, like just little bits like that, and then they kind of fall into place. So, yeah.
And how long did it take for the music to gel for this?
Immediate.
Really?
It was really interesting, actually. So once I finished the lyrics, the second I finished the lyrics, I walked inside, I picked up my guitar, and I just played the song. It was the strangest experience.
Really?
I've pretty much never had that experience before. I knew exactly how I wanted it to sound, and it just happened.
It just came out that way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is You Put My Mind at Ease. This is Taylor Davison singing to Julian Shanahan.
Put it down on paper, then tear it up. 'Cause I ain't never found a list that's long enough. Pray for a new day, but I can't sleep. When you take one look at me, my lighthouse on the raging seas, baby, you put my mind at ease. Oh, you put my mind at ease. Ooh, you put my mind at ease.
Put My Mind at Ease. Taylor Davison making the bed with Julian Shanahan. It has a lot of musical stuff happening in the background. I noticed horns,
Yes.
trumpets.
Yeah.
Where did those come from?
Well, there is a song by John Mayer that I love. And every once in a while, I think everyone can agree with this. You listen to a song and you think, I want a song like that. And so you kind of have that in the back of your mind as something of an inspiration. And I think that that's kind of where the horns came from, is these beautiful horns in this John Mayer song that I love, whose name is escaping me right now. I'll think of it. I'm going to find Another You. That's the song.
And is this Julian playing horns, or is it coming from somewhere else?
So it's, how do you describe it?
Oh, so it's, the horns in that is sample libraries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's,
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was able to play horns or had access to horns, but no, because I do a lot of our orchestral stuff, I do have a lot of high-quality sample libraries at my disposal, so it does take quite a bit of tinkering to get them to sound as realistic as they do in the song. But yeah, that's what they are.
You had me fooled. I was going to ask you about the band lineup.
That's it. I mean, that's the biggest compliment, really.
It really is.
Yeah,
that's great.
This does sound great. You've not had much of a chance to perform lately.
That's right.
No. But when you do perform, what's your favorite kind of venue?
Something small.
Small?
Yeah. I love a coffee house.
Yeah.
Like I said, my drummer friend and I used to play at a small bar in St. Catharines where we grew up. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, just something casual and small. It's been mostly my experience, and I really like that. It feels really intimate.
Yeah. And what happens when folks don't pay attention? They're chatting away and just letting the music flow over them.
I think that's great, honestly.
Yeah?
I mean, that never happens to me. No, I think it's great that I think that I like to listen to music. Obviously, there are times to listen to it very intently, but I think there's also something to be said for a song that just sounds so kind of natural and like a regular song you'd hear on the radio, that it can just flow over you, and you can just, it creates an ambiance that you can just kind of relax to.
And always different when there's an actual performer there who can attune themselves to the feeling of the room.
Definitely.
Yeah. But now that that's not possible, and I hear we're going to be locking down even more later today. You've been performing online. There's a bunch of your videos on YouTube. How does that go?
So usually the live videos that I have on YouTube, most of them are covers, because it's always fun to put together a good cover song. But some of them are live performances of new songs that I just couldn't wait to record to release. So I just, set up my phone as my camera, set up a couple microphones, and just do a live take and share it with people, because sometimes you just can't wait.
Have you done any actual pre-scheduled performances?
I have not.
Taylor Davison showing up at 9 o'clock on Facebook.
Yeah,
I haven't done that.
I haven't done that yet. It's something that I've thought about, though.
Yeah, and what would you perform if you were doing a live performance, a live online performance?
I mean, definitely I'd perform a lot of originals, probably throw a few covers in there. Probably I'd perform a lot of the songs that we're listening to today, and some of the newer ones that have yet to be recorded but will be on the upcoming album.
Okay. Upcoming album.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, right now we have about 9 songs that we're working on putting together onto an album. We've recorded 5.5. We're halfway through the 6th one. And then 3 more to go. So hopefully it will be ready to go by the summer. We'll definitely have that up on Spotify, get the rest of the songs on YouTube, all that good stuff.
In a digital world, is that necessary? Is it necessary to put them all together into an album format? Just release them as you go?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the practical answer to that is that it's actually a little more economically reasonable to post an entire album on Spotify than it is to post single after single. So that's one reason to do it. I definitely will continue to release on YouTube each song kind of as its own single that people can listen to there, but it makes a little bit more sense to release everything as an album on Spotify, just the way that Spotify is set up. So we're going to hold off and do that all at once.
I didn't realize there was a penalty for lots of production stuff.
Yeah, I think it costs a small fee to put each song on Spotify, and then putting a group of songs, doesn't matter how many, costs another fee as well, but it ends up being less than if you did them all individually. So that's the practical reason.
And does it break even?
Like the difference?
There's no Spotify. Do you regain as much from Spotify streaming fees as you do for paying out to put them on there in the first place?
No, we don't, but that's okay with us.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, we really just want to share our music with the world. We don't have lofty goals of becoming rich and famous exactly.
I think that's probably the way that the whole industry is going. There's just so much music out there.
There is.
And so little gets picked up by the labels. And when the labels do pick up stuff, it all sounds exactly the same.
Right. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. So much rather have you producing individual bits of music, on your own and getting it out there for people to listen to than having it not be played by the big labels.
Definitely. And I mean, that's why we're so excited to be here, right? We just really want to share our music with the community, and this is a great venue to do so.
Yeah. So you haven't got anything planned for upcoming concerts? But
Not at the moment, no.
when do you expect the album to be finished?
Hopefully by the summer.
Oh, that long.
Yes. Unfortunately, again, because we have full-time jobs, it can take up to 2 months to fully produce a song.
Yeah.
So we've got about 3 left, so I'm hoping like 6 or 7 months we'll be ready to go.
Does any of it happen in parallel? Do you write the lyrics for 3 or 4 songs at once and then work on the music for the 3 or 4 songs all at the same time and then record bits and pieces for each one as you're going? Because I'm guessing you're not doing all this stuff in a single take.
That's right, yeah. We definitely record in bits and pieces. So often what we do is I will be working on, the production of a song with Julian. Mm-hmm. And while that's happening, I'll be on my setup recording the guitar track, the vocal track. I'll do some of the mixing for the vocal track so that it's like a bit more polished by the time it goes into full production with Julian. So there is a little bit of overlap for sure, but yeah, it takes a long time. It's a slow process.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to, produce a show like this as well. So
yeah, I bet.
I can see what it would take to do the individual songs for an entire album.
Definitely. And we're both a bit of a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist about how the vocal sounds. Julian's a perfectionist about everything else, thankfully. So we do a lot of tinkering. And then even once it's done, we'll listen to it the next week and make changes. And listen to it a week after that and make some changes.
I'll bet if you were with a label, somebody taking charge of getting this stuff out, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have full control, right? We can do literally whatever we want, which is great.
Yeah. Just gotta get it out there.
Exactly.
That's what the radio is for.
Exactly. It's perfect.
You've got another song queued up. This is Let You Go. What's that all about?
So, even though I said earlier that my writing is very diaristic, it's very much about my life, I recently have been interested in the idea of writing songs about kind of not just imaginary situations, but maybe situations that my friends have been through. I mean, you can't really write a realistic breakup song about your own life when you've been with the same person for 10 years. Yeah. So I definitely, for this one, drew on a couple of experiences that different friends of mine had. It's not about just one person exactly, just kind of different things, and piece that together into a story about somebody who is with someone that's hurt them and isn't quite sure if they should just kind of forgive them and move on, or if they're selling themselves short and should be leaving the relationship.
Sounds like good thematic material for a blues song.
Oh, well, it's not a blues song. I think it's much more of a rock song, much more similar to the Dark Cloud style. But yeah.
Okay. So this is Let You Go from Taylor Davison here at CKMS Community Connections.
chose the higher road. Everybody makes mistakes, I said. So why don't you and I just go to bed? And I'll rearrange the furniture so I can't remember where we were when you told me about her. How could I have known? I thought you needed me and I needed you. How could I have known that there wasn't much left to hold on to? It was our greatest test or our dying breath. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. How could I have known? I thought you needed me and I needed you. How could I have known that there wasn't much left to hold on to? Oh, how could I have known? I built my life around the two of us, brick by brick and stone by stone. Now there's nothing left here but dust. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go that night. I was holding on so tight, I should've let you go.
Taylor Davison, Let You Go. That was nice.
Thank
It
you.
wasn't blues,
No, it was not.
it was rock. I wanted to ask you about your online presence. You've got an Instagram account, you've got a Facebook account, you're on YouTube. How's that working out for you? Are you getting the exposure there that you want?
Well, I mean, yes, any views thrill me, of course. And I think that, like you said before, there really is just so much music in the world and so many people sharing things that I think it's hard for anybody to get a ton of exposure in that way unless you're really hustling and working at it. And like I said, I really just want to be sharing our music to the world and all that good stuff. So, I mean, definitely give me a follow on Instagram. I've got 2 songs on Spotify. Dark Cloud and Christmas Changes are currently on Spotify as singles that you can check out there and download. You can find me on SoundCloud, where you can download a lot of my music for
Which is
free.
where I found all your music, yeah.
Yeah. And then on YouTube, of course, as well. You can also find all of my releases and covers and live performances on YouTube as well. So that's always fun.
How do we find you on Instagram?
My handle is Taylor. TayTaylor.
Right. And then just a search in Facebook will probably find you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Lots of Taylor Davisons, though. You know, it's a fairly common name, so
Yeah.
you know, good chance of getting the wrong Taylor Davison.
Yes,
There's a
exactly.
Taylor Davison financial agent someplace.
Oh, is there?
Brought up by air, so.
That's funny. That's not me,
That's
for the
not you.
record. I'm not a financial agent.
Have you found that you're getting more views on places like Facebook and YouTube than you do getting streaming hits on Spotify?
I do think I get more views on YouTube than on Spotify right now. I think that's probably just because I have a lot more music on YouTube than I currently do on Spotify. So
Okay.
that's probably where the traffic is coming from. Yeah, definitely more views on YouTube at this point.
Yeah. And how does that work for finances? I mean, you're not using this as your main source of income, so
No.
I guess it doesn't make a great deal of difference.
Yeah, it
But-
doesn't. I haven't monetized the videos because I don't get enough views that it would be worth it, and I think it's
Okay.
nice for them to play without ads when possible.
Oh yes, that's always
It's
nice,
nice for people.
especially nice on the radio to not be interrupted by an ad halfway through.
I bet that makes sense.
And will you be expanding to Twitter? Because I look for people on Twitter.
Right. Yes, we actually talked about this. I don't have a Twitter right now, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe I should start one. I'm going to have to get somebody to coach me on that. I'm basically an old lady when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you've got to be out there nowadays.
Yeah,
right? You
exactly.
just can't survive, especially now when there's no live venues to
Well,
play.
exactly.
This is the only way people can get a hold of you. This is the only way you can distribute your music nowadays, really.
Definitely. Yeah. So find me on Twitter later this afternoon.
I'll be looking for you. And of course, we'll have all the links to everything in the show notes as well. radiowaterloo.ca/ccc. You'll be able to catch Taylor Davison's podcast and YouTube bonus video, as well as all the previous episodes that we've aired in the past.
Awesome.
What are you planning for the future? The album is coming up, of course. But, hunkering down for winter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing we're going to work on. We both have a little bit of time off over Christmas, of course, so we're going to put a little bit extra work into moving along with the album production. Like I said, we're currently in the middle of working on a song that I'm really excited about. I think it's a little bit more of a pop song, which is really fun.
Okay.
We haven't really done that exactly yet, so very excited about that. That's really going to be the main focus for the next, 6 months. It's just working on getting that out. And then, once everybody is back to normal, hopefully soon after COVID. we'll see about the soon part, but
Yeah.
once that all settles down, I'm really excited to start looking for some venues to play live.
And in the neighborhood around here, in Waterloo region, where would you be playing? What would be a good spot for you to go to?
Well, I
Boathouses
did.
closed,
I know,
Don't
yeah.
chainsaws every venue, but that's closed too.
Right, yeah. I looked into the boathouse when we first moved here, actually. So that would have been great if it's not closed. We did play once at Smile Tiger Coffee.
Oh, okay, that's a nice
Which
spot.
was great.
Yeah.
It was just an open mic night because we were pretty new to the city, so we just wanted to check it out, and that was a great spot. I'd love to play there. Pretty much any small venue, coffee house kind of situation. So yeah,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Yeah. How do you go about getting gigs at venues?
Ooh, it's been a long time since I did this. To be honest, but again, I think it just comes to reaching out.
Yeah.
I think that can be easier than people think it is. There's I think a lot of mystery about getting your songs on the radio or playing shows, and I think that often you just have to ask and see what the options are. I've done a little bit of searching. This was last year before everything shut down, and just looking on restaurants and venues' websites and seeing whether they have live music playing, emailing the person who's in charge of that, sending them your music, seeing if there's a spot for you, that kind of thing.
Okay. And when you do that, do you headline? Are you the solo performer there, or do you play as one of many in a lineup?
My experiences have been playing in a lineup of people, in whatever form that might be, but usually it's with other performers who are also playing that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which I like.
yeah?
Yeah.
Do you play together on occasion, or is it just Taylor Davison solo and then somebody else solo?
The second one, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't had too many opportunities to do a lot of collaboration, which I think I would like to do, although, like I said before, my songwriting is so insular. It's
Yeah.
really, it's just me and my notebook, so I think it might be a learning curve doing that, but I think it would be a lot of fun.
It'd be tough to share those notebooks with other people, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Julian's pretty much the only one who's seen them.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to know that they're out there.
Oh, yeah.
Because now
yeah.
we're listening to new Taylor Davison music. We know where it comes from.
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
a little notebook from chapters.
Right. How many?
Oh, 10 maybe?
10?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There have been notebooks that took me 6 months to fill, which is pretty quick by my standards, and
Yeah.
notebooks which have taken me a couple of years to fill. Different periods of my life have had different levels of productivity in terms of songwriting. Sometimes you're really inspired and you go through this huge thing and just write a ton, and sometimes it feels like you're never going to write a song again. But then you do,
Yeah.
and then you're happy.
Yeah. Is there a musician's block?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, big time. For a long time, I could only write a song if I felt the inspiration,
Ah.
as they say. I felt like I had to wait for it to come upon me. And I think more as I've grown, I've gotten better at understanding the process and like doing the work to getting a song that I want to exist in the way that I want it to exist, but definitely have lots of periods where you just don't have any ideas and you think the last song you wrote is probably your last one and you'll never write a song again. It's all very dramatic.
And is that a block on the music or is that a block on the lyrics?
Usually on the lyrics. By the time I have a lyric, I usually have an idea of the music that's going to go along with it in my head. So
there's actually some sort of synergy happening there with the lyrics and the music.
Yeah, definitely. So even though I don't put the music down first, when I'm writing the lyric, I can kind of hear how it's going to play out a little bit.
Right. Right. With all the notebooks, there's probably not much chance of having co-writers for your music.
Yeah. I did have one experience where I did a co-write with a couple of friends. I had a song that was half done, and I ended up hanging out with these friends who are also very musical, and they kind of helped me finish it. So it started out as an idea of mine, but they definitely added so much to it, and I had writer's block halfway through that song, and they really helped me get out of it. So that was a really positive experience. I'd love to do something like that again.
Yeah. Do you expect to have collaborations in the future? Is this something that you're working towards, or is it just something that happenstance?
The experience I had was definitely just happened to be that way. The friends were just in London where I was living at the time that day, and we were hanging out, and I was like, I've got this song. Like, do you want to help me with it? But I would definitely be interested in taking a more active approach to a collaboration. If I met someone whose musical ideas kind of aligned with mine and we had the time.
Would you be putting your words to somebody else's music or writing music for somebody else's words, or would it be somebody working on lyrics together with you?
I like the idea of working on lyrics with somebody, but I've also thought about how I would love to write lyrics that someone else put the music to, because like I said, I feel like the lyrics are something I'm much more confident about than the music. The music is much harder for me to get to.
Yeah.
So I'd be really curious about somebody who was the opposite, who for whom the music came really easily. I'd be really interested what their musical take on my lyrics would be. That would be a lot of fun.
Right. And so when you've got the lyrics complete, you said you've got mostly the tune hammered out at that point.
It's more of the beat.
Oh, the beat?
Yeah,
So you're writing poetry, really?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Poetry set to music.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to describe it, actually.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I want to talk about not your latest song, which we already played, but what I thought was the latest song up until this morning, Christmas Changes.
Yes.
What can you tell me about Christmas Changes? How did that happen? Was that something that you started in the summer?
No, so this is another case of a song that's actually a little bit old. I wrote this 2 Christmases ago.
Oh.
I wrote it because it was so I'm one of 3 children. I have an older sister, I have a younger brother. And this was going to be 2 years ago, 2 Christmases ago, this was going to be the first Christmas that my brother was unable to be with us for Christmas. He was living and working in Sault Ste. Marie at the time and just didn't have enough time to drive all the way down here, of course. And I felt sad, really sad about that because I really love my family, of course, like most people. Also, my sister was pregnant at the time, so there was just a lot of things going on that were big changes in our lives. My brother was going to be with us. My sister was about to have a baby. Everything was kind of changing. I don't deal great with change. One of my fatal flaws. So I was just feeling a little bit sentimental about it all and a little bit sad, and I just wanted to express those feelings in the way that I know how, by writing a song. And I remember when I finished the song, I recorded a video for it, which is actually the video that's on YouTube, and I sent it to my sister, and I said, is this too personal to share? I felt really shy about it because it was coming from such a personal place for me, and she really encouraged me to share it. She thought it was great and encouraged me to share it, and it's gotten some really wonderful feedback from people, I think, because everyone has this experience of this really sentimental and traditional time of year changing, and that's hard. So I think
especially this year. Yeah.
Especially this year, right? I'm not seeing a lot of my family this year, and that's the case for a lot of people. So I think it was very personal of a story for me back then. I think it's a really universal feeling right now.
Let's have a listen. Christmas Changes by Taylor Davison. You're on CKMS Community Connections.
Evergreens and colored lights and stars. used to be. Obligations and responsibilities. 'Cause Christmas changes. No book can hold it all together. No song can make it feel the same. Everything changes like the weather, and time's the only one to blame. Yeah, Christmas changes. Isn't it strange watching Christmas change? Making holiday wishes and plans on the phone. Met a boy at school and I'm bringing him home for Christmas. Oh, for Christmas. You're bringing someone too, I hear, and it didn't snow much this year. These things we've always known will one day disappear. Magic and mystery and listening for reindeer. But I'm sure glad you all are here. 'Cause Christmas changes. No book can hold it all together. No song can make it feel the same. Everything changes like the weather, and time's the only one to blame. Yeah, Christmas changes. Whoa. Christmas changes. Whoa. In an instant, nothing's like it used to be. Tonight I'm wishing.
Listening to Christmas Changes by Taylor Davison. Taylor, thank you so much for coming to the studio and spending an hour with me.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been. You've been listening to CKMS Community Connections here on CKMS FM. My name is Bob Jonkman. CKMS Community Connections is produced by Radio Waterloo, sponsored by Radio Waterloo. Executive producer is Jennifer Strong. Associate producers are Jeff Stager, Dylan Bravener, and Jordan Dorans, who does the Saturday edition, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Happy solstice to you all. We'll be back next week with more Community Connections.
No book can hold it all together. No song can make it feel the same, but sometimes changes for the better. I love the family we became. Yeah, Christmas changes.
You are listening to CKMS 102.7 FM, Radio Waterloo.